Is 200 megapixels a new standard when it comes to flagship phones? Is Apple still as unique as it was a few years ago? And how WhatsApp tries to compensate for the constant hacker attacks in their app? Hi everyone, I'm your host Gordon MC and you're watching GizChina News. You must have read many lists about the top whatever phone of the current year. Well, this will be something different. Today we are here to tell you what phones you shouldn't buy because your money has much better places to go to. First of all, we have the Moto G23 with the well-anticipated 6.55 inches POLED screen with a 1080 x 2460 pixels resolution and the glowing 1300 nits brightness. So that's cool, so as the 576 Hz touch sampling rate and the 120 screen refresh rate. And we could talk about the 108 megapixels triple camera as well, if it wasn't for the nighttime when it shows its dark side. It just simply doesn't work in the nighttime that well. Also, it only supports 4G and the rear panel feels really cheap because of it's made of plastic. It's only ran by a Helio G99 chip and we can tell that the 1-year system support that they can provide is almost nothing compared to the $229 price tag. You can choose Poco M5 instead with almost the same specifications but with the 50 megapixels camera. At least it's an honest number. And an LCD screen instead of the POLED, but well, the rest is seriously almost the same. And it only goes for $151, so I think you get the point. Now this one may leave some questions in you. The next we have on our list is the Infinix Z08, simply because of its selling point, the 48 megapixels front camera. If that's what you're looking for in a phone, then you can try a costlier but much more worthy option. Though the Z08 has a 64 megapixel quad camera setup with a bunch of options for it, but on the inside there's only a low-end MediaTek Helio G90T chipset and it has a 180 Hz touch sample rate with a 90 Hz refresh rate. So not great, but not terrible for $260. But if you're really looking for a selfie pro mode, we recommend the Xiaomi CV2. First of all, it's a killer when night comes compared to the Z08 since it has two 32 megapixel selfie sensor to make the phone easier to achieve SLR level portrait blur, like this. You see here. Second, its 3D flexible AMOLED display has 1/3 higher, meaning 120 Hz refresh rate, and it's boosted with the 1st gen Snapdragon 7. So it comes for $334, but I tell you, these are the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
We know that a lot of you complained about the decision under the article, but we still believe that Google Pixel 7 simply doesn't worth it. I wouldn't go much deeper in it why. You can read every detail and the comments at the article that I linked in the description, but I tell you this, there are a lot of other fishes in the sea under $199 with the same specifications. Pixel 7 Pro likes to be marketed as the cheapest flagship phones around, but Xiaomi just came under the radar and dropped the 12T Pro to the market on the 13th of October. Here comes the drop! It's ran by a 3rd generation Snapdragon 8 Plus chipset with a decent 12 gigs of RAM, while the energy is supported by a 5K mAh battery that can be loaded up in 19 minutes thanks to the 120 watts fast charging. The machine is topped with a 200 megapixels main camera, an 8 megapixels ultrawide and a 2 megapixels macro lens. It's said to be the second phone that uses that big sensor. It's so big that it's no surprise that it can record in 8K as well. It also has an outstanding image stabilization, eye tracking and many more treats that you can find in the article below in the description. We talked about how infinix Z08 isn't the best phone. Well, we can tell the same about the Zero Ultra 5G, Transion's new flagship, alongside Hot 25G, an affordable version of the latest tech they have. Such as Xiaomi's 12T Pro, Zero Ultra 5G also has a 200 megapixels main camera with a 6.8-inch AMOLED display to let us see the picture of the camera on something stunning. It supports FHD Plus with a 120 Hz refresh rate, fueled by a Dimensity 920 chipset and 8 gigs of RAM. It also has a 32 megapixel selfie shooter and a 13 megapixels wide-angle lens. Compared to the Zero Ultra 5G's $520 price tag, the Hot 25G, as being the cheaper version for $180, knows less. Slightly weaker chip, slightly smaller screen, slightly weaker camera being 50 megapixels, but you will find everything in the article that we linked below. Samsung S23 series is at the doorsteps. First, it seemed that we will only get it in February, but there are already speculations about they may bring the release date closer to the beginning of the year. As you may all know, there will be 3 variations: the simple S23, the Plus and the Ultra models. They will most likely come in beige, black, green and light pink colors, but black is for sure, and they will maybe postpone the rest for later. The S23 Ultra will have a 6.8-inch QHD AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate, and under the screen we get an S Pen slot. It will also feature a 200 megapixels main camera, like it would be a standard these days, a 12 megapixels ultra-wide and 2 10 megapixels telephoto lenses, one with 3 times, the other with 10 times optical zoom. Now that is something. We can only hope that the 5K mAh battery will be enough for it. The S23 and S23 Plus models will have a 6.1 and 6.6 inch displays with only a Full HD Plus resolution and a much smaller camera setup as well, but with the same second generation Snapdragon 8 chipset, they won't be a much disappointment either. We can't have an episode about Apple. They are so different. Or are they? They were the parallel dimension to everything that Microsoft created and the world that is related to it in any ways. That was until they started to get their supplies for their devices from strange places. Like they got screens from Samsung or electronic parts from LG, and the list goes on. In fact, iPhone 14 came out with a Snapdragon X65 modem instead of their own because they had troubles with production. It seems that the 15th and the 16th generation will also share Qualcomm's technology with Android phones, since they won't be ready with the 5G chipsets in another 2 years. So it's getting harder to get unique for Apple, but we'll see in the future. And now for some software news. WhatsApp subscription service is on its way, though this premium service will only be available for business users. As developers know that their app is one of the main targets for hacker attacks, they also feel that they may need to provide something for the users to make them happy. The premium service contains customizable links for business profiles, shared accounts between 10 devices, and video calls between even 32 people on the line. The question is, will perks like these please the users enough to stay on the app? One thing is for sure, we will report of the updates. And for last, here are some easy methods to install apps on your Android TV. The first, and maybe for some the least obvious, is to use your phone. Just download the TV's app to your phone and you can control everything from there. The second is a completely manual one. You have to download an APK file from a safe website, then bring it in on a USB stick to your TV, and then you can install it from there in the Explorer. If you really don't want to deal with a USB stick, simply download the Send Files to TV app to your smart TV, and from there you can mainly transfer anything through your phone. And third, sometimes your TV offers you to play Android games on it. In these cases, the most effective method if you download them through your computer in the Google Play Store, and the rest goes almost like when you did it with your phone. That was it for today. Thank you for joining us again. There's a link to everything we talked about in the description, so don't be shy and read more. We also appreciate if you click the subscribe button and the like. Don't get fooled by marketing and keep it rock until next time.